Hello everyone, welcome to week 2 here at Rasmussen. Hopefully week 1 went off without any problems for you. So this week your module is dealing with medical asepsis. So in order to kind of understand what that means, you'll probably need to read the chapter. And I know that on the website it says that you have to read chapters 22 through 25. That's not correct. I want you to just focus on chapter 22. That's what's going to be important for this week's lesson. Okay? So, in order to really understand what medical asepsis is, you need to understand what the term asepsis means. I'm sure you already know what medical means, but the asepsis might throw you off a little bit. So the basic thing with asepsis, it simply means clean technique. Okay? Or freeing something up, making it free of germs. Very simple, and I know it's just a really big word for that. With asepsis, it actually has two types of asepsis and dealing with an aseptic technique. And again, aseptic technique is pretty much an effort to stop or reduce the spread of microorganisms from one person to another. The two types of asepsis, or aseptic technique, are medical asepsis and surgical asepsis. Now we'll talk about what surgical asepsis means next week. I want to just focus on what medical asepsis means this week. And simply, medical asepsis is the procedures that greatly decrease the spread or the number of microorganisms from one person to another. Examples of how you perform medical asepsis, wiping down the exam tables between patients, cleaning the countertops after you do a procedure or after the end of a shift, washing our hands between patients or between procedures, between giving injections. That stops the spread of infection, and also making sure that you're wearing your proper protective equipment, or PPE. Okay, so that's kind of a basic overview of what Chapter 22 is for you guys, or the main parts that I want you to know for this week. Further into this week, we'll also be kind of going over your the different types of protective equipment, so that personal protective equipment. And I'm actually going to get them out, and you're going to play with them, you're going to explore with them, you're going to don them, and then remove them in the proper ways. So some of the types of PPE that you're going to come in contact with in the field are gloves, which really gloves are used to protect ourselves and have a barrier between our hands and contaminants. That's going to stop the spread of microorganisms onto your hands. You also are going to deal with gowns, which are going to protect your clothing and your skin from any chemicals or microorganisms. You're going to see face masks or shields, and those are really to protect your eyes, nose, and mouth from spraying or splashing materials, okay? So when you're dealing with urine or when you're dealing with blood and you're spinning it in a centrifuge, you may want to wear gloves, you may want to wear goggles or a face mask to kind of protect yourself from getting any of that in your face. You're also going to deal with hair nets or hair caps, and that's to kind of make sure that your hair stays out of the way and it doesn't get infected with materials. Also, shoe covers. Those are really important because they stop the spread of infections from one department to another that kind of get stuck on the bottom of our shoes that we don't really know about. So you'll put shoe covers on when you walk into a lab, and you'll take them off after you leave and are out of that area. So those are the kind of things that you'll get to play with in lab this week, and you'll get to explore with and try on and look very beautiful in all of the equipment. So be ready to try on all of those today, or this week on Wednesday. Sorry. I teach one too many classes. I can't keep them all straight. The other thing that we're going to do in lab this week is discuss and actually demonstrate proper hand washing. Now, most of us think that we already know how to wash our hands. We've been doing it for years. But there is a difference between what we've been taught with washing our hands and a medical aseptic washing of our hands. So we're going to focus on that this week as well, and that'll be the labs that you'll have to complete for success this week. So hopefully we will have everyone in class and we'll be able to all wash our hands together. Also this week in lab, I'm going to talk about and discuss your specialist project, which is the project that you'll have throughout this quarter. I will have all of the materials printed for you so you can better understand it. But the big things that you need to know and the big due dates you'll need to know, the first part of your project will be due in week 6, and the second part of your project will be due in week 8. So those are 2 dates that you can start thinking about, keeping them in the back of your head, because they're going to be important weeks for you and your project. Your homework assignment this week, because you only have one, is dealing with creating an exposure control plan. Now, if you remember in week 1, we actually talked about exposure control plans, what is required in them, and we actually did a mock exposure, so you kind of got to see, what could happen. Now, when you're doing your homework assignment, it's a little bit different. Your homework assignment it's going to be what you would present to a group of new employees. Okay? You can either create a PowerPoint slideshow with this, or you can actually create an outline of what you would essentially teach to a group of new employees. So if you've ever been to employee training, they make you watch either a really boring video, or you go through a PowerPoint with them, or they give you an outline of what's going to happen for the day. So it's very important that you read the rubric for this week that is posted with the assignment, so you can actually see what is required, what parts. And I believe there's 9 parts to this assignment. So you need to make sure all 9 pieces are in this assignment. Otherwise, you won't get the full credit points, and I'm sure you guys all want A's on your homework assignments. So make sure that you take a look at that rubric prior to actually completing or starting your assignment, so you have a better understanding of what is expected out of this assignment. And the last thing I have for you guys is just a reminder about your discussion posts. Make sure those are completed by Tuesday night at midnight with your initial discussion post. Initial discussion posts should be good, detailed assignments, so that way your classmates have something to respond to when they respond on Saturday. And make sure that you have both of your responses in on Saturday by midnight. All right, ladies. Thanks for sticking with me, and welcome to week 2. I will see you on Wednesday evening. Goodbye.